Bone healing. Your cat might be healing your body from your lap simply because of the frequency of its purr. A cat's purr sits between 25 and 150 Hz. That low end, around 25 to 50 Hz, is the exact range physical therapists program into vibration plates to build bone density and speed up healing in soft tissue. Dr. Clinton Rubin found that bone exposed to a 30 Hz vibration for 20 minutes a day grew back measurably stronger, and a study recording 44 species of cats found every one of them purring in that same 25 to 150 Hz range, right in line with the frequencies medicine uses for fractures, wounds, and torn tendons. Researchers now think a purr may pass a mild version of that healing vibration into whoever the cat's resting against. The effect's not nailed down in humans yet, and no one's canceling their surgeon over a tabby. But the calming side already holds up strong. That steady low hum slows your breathing and drops your anxiety, which is its own kind of repair. There's a reason cats purr when they're hurt or scared, not just when they're happy. Some scientists think it started as self-soothing, a way to keep their own bodies calm under stress. You just happen to be close enough to catch the runoff, which means that cat on your chest, acting like you're the lucky one to have it there, turns out you kind of are. Bonding. When your dog locks eyes with you, your body releases the same chemical that surges through a new mother the first time she holds her baby. It's also the same one that floods your system when you first fall in love. It's called oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and a study in the journal Science found that a few minutes of eye contact between dogs and their owners raised it in both of them at once. You look at your dog, your oxytocin rises, so you feel closer and hold the gaze longer. That look works both ways, raising the dog's oxytocin too, so it keeps staring back, which lifts yours again. Wolves don't do this. Raised by the same hands, fed from birth, they'll barely meet your eyes. Somewhere across thousands of years of living beside us, dogs ended up developing a bonding system used to tie parents to infants, and now dogs share it with the people who raise them. That look your dog gives you across the room runs deeper than language, a connection between two species that were never meant to feel it for each other. Immunity building. A kid raised with a dog or a cat is less likely to grow up with allergies, asthma, or eczema than a kid raised in a spotless, pet-free home. The more animals in the house, the lower those odds drop. Your immune system isn't born knowing what's dangerous. It learns in the first years of life by meeting as many microbes as it can and sorting the harmful ones from the harmless. A dog or a cat is a walking supply of them, coated in animal bacteria your clean human house would never grow on its own. The ones that go outside haul in a whole second load from the yard. Everybody in a house with pets ends up with a diverse mix of microbes, swapped through petting, the occasional lick, and breathing the same air. For a developing immune system, that's a full curriculum. It meets a wider range of microbes early, so it's less likely to grow up jumpy and start attacking pollen or peanuts like they're threats. It doesn't stop in childhood either. Bring a dog into an adult home and your own bacterial makeup starts changing within weeks, drifting toward your dog's. Live with one long enough and your immune system ends up stronger than a pet-free person's ever gets. Heart rhythm synchronization. Strap a heart monitor on you and one on your dog, sit together for a few minutes, and the rhythms start to match. Researchers measure this through heart rate variability, the tiny changes in the gap between one heartbeat and the next. That variability is a readout of your nervous system, loose and flexible when you're calm, rigid when you're stressed. When an owner and a dog relax together, those patterns begin to line up, the dogs drifting toward the persons and the persons toward the dogs. The direction flips between the two. Sometimes your calmness settles the dog, sometimes the dog's calm settles you. The two keep adjusting to each other like a pair of instruments being tuned to the same metronome. It's the same thing that happens between a parent and an infant, or two people who've been married 40 years. Sit close enough to something you're bonded to and your bodies start running on the same clock. The dog pressed against your leg on the couch is doing more than keeping you company. It's keeping time with you. Disease detection. A trained dog can smell cancer on a person's breath before any scan finds it, and sense a seizure coming 20 minutes early. Their sense of smell leaves ours in the dust. Up to 300 million scent receptors against our measly 6 million. Disease changes how you smell. A tumor puts out faint chemical compounds that drift into your breath and sweat in amounts far too small for a person to notice. Dogs have been trained to flag cancers like lung and prostate by scent alone in study after study, some hitting an accuracy that rivals lab equipment. That nose also catches a diabetic's blood sugar crashing and a seizure coming on, picking up subtle changes in body chemistry minutes before the person feels a thing. It's why service dogs now warn their owners to sit down before a collapse they don't yet know is coming. Cats can sense it too, right at the end. In a Rhode Island nursing home, a cat named Oscar curled up beside residents hours before they died. So reliably, the staff started calling families the moment he settled in. A Brown University doctor wrote him up in the New England Journal of Medicine after Oscar went through this with more than 50 people, and the count later passed 100. The likely reason is the same one behind a dog's nose. As the body shuts down, its cells give off a smell, and Oscar picked it up. A pet might not be able to provide an official diagnosis, but catching the first sign of a disease, or the last hours of life, while it's still too faint for any machine to determine, is as close to a sixth sense as biology gets. Pain reduction. Wheel a therapy dog into an emergency room, and the patient start asking for less pain medication. One study found just 10 minutes with a dog cut people's pain by a significant margin. Pain isn't as fixed as it feels. Your brain sets the volume, turning it up when you're scared or alone, and down when you feel safe. Simply having a dog in the room turns that dial down. It lowers your stress hormones, releases that bonding chemical we talked about earlier, and gives your attention something to focus on besides the hurting. The effect is modest but measurable, and it's strongest exactly where you'd expect. Emergency rooms, burn units, and cancer wards, the places where fear is stacked on top of the pain. It may not replace an epidural, and nobody's swapping anesthesia for a golden retriever, but a body that feels safe has less pain than a body that's afraid. And few things convince a scared nervous system it's safe faster than a warm animal that chooses to sit down next to it. Memory preservation. Studies that followed people past 65 found the ones who lived with a pet held on to their memory years longer than everyone else. Sharper recall, better focus, and verbal skills that stayed stronger later into old age. The longer someone kept their pet, the better their memory stayed. This is a correlation, so it's possible sharper people are simply more likely to keep a pet as they age. But the effect holds up even after accounting for a lot of that, which suggests the animal is the one responsible. A pet keeps an aging brain busy in ways that protect it. It forces a routine into your day, gets you outside walking, and keeps the crushing isolation of old age, one of the biggest drivers of decline, from setting in. Loneliness wears down a brain faster than almost anything, and it's hard to feel alone when you're greeted like you've been gone for a year every time you walk through the door. Antibody production. Pet a dog for 18 minutes and a frontline antibody in your saliva measurably rises. It's called secretory IgA, and it's one of the first things standing between you and the next cold you breathe in. IgA coats the wet linings where germs try to break in, starting at your mouth and nose, blocking viruses and bacteria before they can take hold. In one study, researchers had a group of students pet a real dog, while another group petted a stuffed animal, or just sat on a couch alone. Only the group with the living animal showed the rise in IgA. Full transparency, this was just one small study, and the antibody spike was short-lived. Nobody's beating the flu simply by petting a Labrador. Nonetheless, it lines up with a pile of other research on why pet owners tend to get sick less often. Just one more perk of having a dog. Stress reduction. Within 2 minutes of your hand landing on a dog's back, your blood pressure eases and your cortisol, the main stress hormone, starts to fall. It's significant enough that you can see it on a monitor. The body downshifts almost the moment you make contact. Stress runs on your sympathetic nervous system, the branch behind your fight or flight response, driving your heart rate faster and your blood pressure up, while cortisol readies you to take on the threat. Contact with an animal you trust switches control to the parasympathetic nervous system, the one that handles rest and recovery. Your heart rate slows, your vessels dilate, and the cortisol drops back down. The effect shows up in minutes, even in people meeting a friendly dog for the first time, which is why hospitals and airports now station therapy dogs in the middle of the most stressful rooms they've got. Do it every day for years, and those small drops stack into a heart that spends far less of its life under pressure, which leads right into the next topic on the list. Lifespan extension. Own a dog and you're measurably less likely to die early. Across dozens of studies covering millions of people, dog owners carried about a 24% lower risk of death than people without one. No single thing explains it. It's every effect a dog has on a human all put together. It makes you walk when you would have stayed on the couch. It brings your blood pressure and stress hormones down, and it keeps you tied to a routine and clear of the isolation that leads to an early demise. Stack all of that across years, and it adds up to a longer life. Cat owners get a version of it too, with lower rates of dying from heart attack and stroke than people with no pet at all. The animal isn't trying to save your life. It's just being a dog, or a cat, doing the ordinary things it does. You happen to be built so that a loyal companion beside you and a daily reason to get up is close to a prescription. The pet never knew it was medicine. It's just glad you're home.